Before we talk about Saturday's game, just a final word on Tuesday. Obviously, the reaction in the second half. How's the team looking after that? So you made 7 changes, which reflected the amount of games that we've got coming up at the moment.
Yeah, is it been known as the trilogy, the 3 games against Bradford? The third game, which never was, but obviously happened. We're just pleased to come through that cup tie, to be honest with you, because we played against a good opposition and we played against them 3 times now, and we've come out on top. So delighted in terms of the result of Tuesday. We know we moved certain personnel around in terms of the squad and the game. We seem to have come through relatively unscathed in terms of the personnel, apart from Tim Diang seems to have unfortunately picked up an injury, which could affect his availability for this weekend and the next couple of games. But we'll assess him on a daily basis. The real positives were more minutes for Sam Stubbs, getting up to that 70-minute mark. And the squad showing its strength by being able to influence it from the bench once again.
You mentioned Tim Diang there with that injury, but the options available to you if he isn't able to play, Kyle Taylor, Harry Kite, Archie Collins, they've all had really strong seasons.
Yeah, and Kyle, I'm sure he'll talk about himself. He's been a little bit disjointed in terms of his first start to his Exeter City career, through no fault of his own, through COVID and through injury. But he got some more minutes on Tuesday, and he'll be vying for his place going into this weekend. And you want those options available. Obviously, Nigel probably won't make the trip this weekend, and if Tim's not available, that puts a bit more pressure on that central midfield area, so to speak. But Harry Kite, I can't speak highly enough of how he's kept himself ready, despite coming out of the team from his initial good early spell, and then coming back in the team and performing so well. And that's what you want from any player, no matter when they're called upon. They've got to be ready to produce their best, which then keeps them in the team, and keeps bringing them the plaudits they get.
Well, such a short turnaround, obviously, between Tuesday night's game and Saturday. I know you're very much a manager who just takes it one game at a time, but how much of an eye on a potential game against Cambridge did you have before Tuesday's game in terms of preparation?
Well, first and foremost, we didn't want to take anything away from the Bradford and the Rochdale games, but I had half an eye on what potentially could come, and then we had a busy day yesterday. As soon as Tuesday night was out of the way, we had a busy day, fine-tuning and final details going into the Cambridge prep. But because it's such a short turnaround, we've not got too much time to give too much information to the players, which maybe makes it easier for ourselves, easier for the players, easier for myself as manager, because I want more freshness and more energy again this weekend in terms of the starting group and being able to influence it from the bench. So we'll assess the group physically first and foremost, as we always do, and then not come up with a plan, but try and put our best group in front of the opposition to start the game, with the ability to change and to strengthen at different times as the game goes on. But we're going to a League One opposition. We're the underdogs. There's no pressure on ourselves in relation to that. And we're going to go and give it a really good game.
Obviously, Cambridge are a side we're familiar with following their promotion last season. How would you assess their start to League One? They've managed to retain the core of their team, aside from Paul Mullin, and mid-table at the moment is probably about where they'd be happy with.
Oh, fantastic. I'm sure they'll be delighted with the mid-table position. I mean, I've watched as many games as I could in terms of the last 24 hours. And I'm watching them against Sunderland. I'm watching them against Wigan. I'm watching them against Sheffield Wednesday. These are giants of the football world, let alone at League One level. So for Cambridge to be competing and to be performing well against his team is a testament to the manager and that group of staff and those players at this moment in time. And I'm sure they'll be enjoying that experience. But we speak about League Two being relentless. Watching them play those games in the last few weeks has been incredible to see. But it's where we want to try and get to if we possibly can. But I expect it to be a good marker for ourselves this weekend. We talk about performance against a higher level team. We will get tested to the utmost this weekend. But we know that if we put out our best, then we'll have a chance in any game of football. And that includes this weekend. So great to see a team we were so close to and played against last season, competing at another level and competing well. And we hope they keep on doing that.
And obviously, with any second round tie, there's that dangling carrot of potentially a big tie in the third round, which really, gives the really real competitive aspect to this tie.
Yeah, I mean, people talk about the third round of the FA Cup. It's the famous round because it's when the big clubs come into it. But the first and second rounds they're the most important ones, because that third round becomes irrelevant if you get knocked out, and that was the pressures of that trilogy against Bradford, those 3 games, and it'll be the pressures of this weekend. But the fact that we're going away from home to a team in the higher league takes a little bit of pressure off ourselves. But every player, every manager, every team, every club, they've got a history with the FA Cup, and no more so than ourselves at Exeter City. So we know what potentially could come in the future. But as you know, we're not looking too far ahead. We've got a hell of a game this weekend, and we'll go and give it our best shot.
We've seen in recent weeks how superb the supporters have been, home and away. Obviously, it's so close to Christmas, and it's a big financial commitment to travel away from home. And they've had 4 days' notice as well. So kudos to every supporter that comes to Cambridge on Saturday.
Yeah, and first and foremost, kudos in relation to those cup ties with Bradford. Whether it was the first one on that wet, windy day up at Bradford, or the second one, which never was, or the third one, which was extra commitment from our fans, and how fantastic they were, and that connection keeps on growing with this group of players and the fans at the end of every game, during each performance. It's like a roller coaster. There'll be ups and downs. No better example of that than Tuesday, where everyone was disappointed to a certain extent with that first half period, and sometimes you have to suffer a little bit during a game, but that connection at the end and to see the celebrations is fantastic to see, and we know somehow they'll find a way to come and support us this weekend, because Exeter City fans always support us. And I've got to be honest, the FA Cup across the board has not been well supported this season in terms of attendances, and we've been an absolute shining light in relation to that. So I can't hide out how proud I am as a club, but of the fans in relation to their contribution to that, to get over 3,000 for both of those games at home. Was absolutely incredible to see, and it made a difference. And hopefully the fans go home feeling they made a difference to winning those games of football. Strange we had to win 2 of them, but like I say, that connection is huge at the moment. And for a competition which, for whatever reason, has been poorly attended at other clubs, Exeter City fans have shown their true colours and showed why we feel they're different to other fans across the country.